Hello and welcome back to another episode of Blades of Glory. In this episode, I'm going to update you on 6 live games before we get into the derby clash against Sheffield Wednesday at home. See if we can take all 3 points later. So let's update you on the games I've played. The first one was up against Bristol City at home, and this was a game that we really should be winning as they're in 15th place. We made a couple of changes from the game against MK Dons, but it was still a pretty strong lineup that we put out. And it did end up pretty well in the end. Sharp got the goal, the breakthrough in the 72nd minute. Evans really missed quite a lot of chances before that, so we had to change them around. But then we finished the game off with Calvert-Lewin. He's done that a few times recently. Found the net late on to seal the deal for us. Sharp missed a penalty as well in the 80th minute. He's been missing penalties willy-nilly this season and last season actually, but really we were a much the better team. We probably deserved to win by more actually. Bristol City got off a bit lightly, a lot of key chances, a lot of chances created from our team there, so very pleasing. The next game was a very tricky one against Huddersfield away from home. They were sitting in fourth, we were in third I think at this point. We made a couple of changes from the last game, basically just to the midfield and Jack O'Connell coming back into the defence. But Huddersfield had a good side. They obviously relegated from the Premier League, so Mauro Zarate caused us quite a few problems in this game. In this game, as usual, we went back to our bit more defensive team instructions with more discipline and stick to positions, but we did concede very early. That seems to happen a lot for us actually this season. But Coots got one back with an absolutely sensational strike not too long after to put my mind at rest a bit. I thought we might have got battered after that. We did actually take the lead. A rare goal from Baldock, especially with his head, assisted by Stevens. Two wing backs combining nicely there. But Moy, who I mentioned before, is a very good player. He played well against us, 7.5 and 7.5 for Zarate. As I say, he got quite a few key chances. He didn't actually get an assist or a goal, but he did play very well. Oh no, he did get an assist. So overall, it was a reasonably even game actually. I think we were quite happy really with this result because they're a strong side away from home to get a draw and not look completely outclassed on the pitch is pretty damn good. The next game was a slightly less stressful one for me. It was up against Reading at home, and they went with a slightly odd formation, I'd say. They basically should have had a striker, but they've decided to drop him back into defence, maybe to deal with our attacking intent, like the game against Bristol City. I think maybe they were just looking for a draw. Let's see how that one got on. We did manage to find the breakthrough just before half time. Ched Evans, I was very pleased with him scoring quite early on in the game, I suppose. That put my mind at rest, and they didn't really change their formation until very late on in the game. It was really odd. They did have this striker that they played at the end of the game, but they didn't go with the striker, I don't think, until the sort of 80th, 85th minute to try and get a goal back. It just seemed like an odd strategy from Reading not to change it immediately after our goal. But anyway, a great performance from Brooks. Good from Evans getting another goal, and a pretty solid home performance from us again. We did manage to break down a team that sat up very defensively, so we're kind of showing that we've got a few more strings to our bow than maybe we did have last season. In the next game, we were up against QPR, and if you remember last season, they really caused us problems. Osai Samuel did really well against us last year, but this time we are a bit more solid aside. We did bring Turnbull back into the team as Jack O'Connell really isn't playing well at the moment. It's quite disappointing, and Kieran Freeman as well on the right, giving him more game time. As quite an attacking fullback, I think it's worth playing him in home games against especially the weaker sides. Alongside Kieran Freeman actually being more attacking, we did change our formation a bit to move David Brooks forward into a trequartista role. This will be only for the home games where we can afford to make him more offensive. And I think it worked quite well in this game. Obviously, there we go, we got the first goal, and then Brooks with the assist. Kieran Freeman coming forward with his attacking nature to seal the deal. 76th minute for us, and it did end quite well. We didn't create as many chances as we did in those games against Bristol and Reading. That may be due to putting it on work ball into box, so they picked their chances a bit better. There were a number of key passes in there, so hopefully these key passes resulted in the shots, which were from quite good positions. Penultimate game before the live one was against Preston away from home. They were doing very well in 5th place in the league. They've got a couple of good players in there. Hugill, well. Maitland-Niles, Alan Brown, pretty strong team they've got there. We did actually make a couple of rotations for this one, as we always do, but we did put Calvert-Lewin up top because Clough's not really played very well since he's come back from his injury. And it started off reasonably well for us. In the 33rd minute, Brooks tries to whip it in, but he gets the second bite of the cherry, and this time it's a great ball into Dominic Calvert-Lewin with another headed goal. He's scored a few of them this season. Obviously, he's come in as a striker, so it's good to see him getting a goal, and then providing the assist for Billy Sharp to make it 2-0 to us in the 63rd minute. They did get one back, which made me a little bit worried, especially as the away side. Good finish there from Clark. Very good strike from him, even though I think he might be a central defender. Carter Vickers, though, sealed it in added time to make it 3-1 to us, and a really, really good result away from home against one of the top sides this season anyway in Preston. So we did actually dominate the game. They didn't have that much of the ball, didn't have that much in the way of shots. We'll just look at the overall match stats here. We had plenty of clear-cut chances, plenty of half chances. Their goal probably came from their only half chance. So actually, the result maybe flattered Preston in some sort of way. It could easily have been 3-0 to us. The last game I've got to show you was against Leeds, and I'm sorry I didn't get the screenshot for this game. I was in a bit of a rush. But looking at the teams that you can see here, we didn't have Cameron Carter-Vickers or Conser. Conser was in international duty for the England under-21s, which is, well, it's good that he's getting in England under-21s at least. And Carter-Vickers picked up a knock on his international duty as well. But otherwise, it was a fairly standard team. Vetlison carrying on with a lot of games that he's got so far this season. As I say, I was a bit rushed for this game, so I didn't get to analyse it fully. But Ronaldo Vieira, a very good young player, he put them ahead in the 43rd minute. We did manage to equalise, though, in the second half, 56th, 58th minute now. Evans with another headed goal. He's been really good form this season. Maybe in spells a bit more than I'd like, but he has been our top scorer and he has been very effective for us. In terms of shots, they had quite a few good chances just with those shots on target, so don't let that fool you. I think it was a fairly even game overall. It was a derby as well, so to get a draw and not to lose especially was quite good going into the game against Sheffield Wednesday. For that, though, we have got the news which I said about last episode on work permits. There is an update actually saying that there's a 17 foreign player limit, which won't affect us very much at all, I don't think, given that we've got pretty much everyone is from Britain at least, maybe a couple of Irish players in there, but apart from that, there's not many players. Oh, but they are treated as non-foreign, so there we go, that's fine. So we basically have no foreign players in there apart from Vetlison, I think, but he won't be counted as foreign anyway because he's already in the league, so that's quite good. Then there is these new work permit rules. I don't like the work permits anyway. I'm really not. I really hate them because they're always a stumbling block for getting players from South America and whatever. And this is what basically is there. So the appeal bid, they have to be above 11.75 million. That is quite a lot of money. We're not going to be able to spend that, I doubt, next season on, well, more than one player, probably not even one player. So it's going to be tough to get players from abroad, but luckily we have already got a good base of players from England. So if we wanted to bring in some players from abroad, there would be plenty of room in our squad to do so. Okay then, tactics-wise, we did pick up a couple of injuries to players, really disappointingly. Richard Stearman out between 12 days and 4 weeks, so probably 2 or 3 weeks before he comes back in the team. And then Ezri Konsa is out for over a month, maybe a month and a half. That is very annoying. We may have to bring in a centre-back in the transfer window, although he actually probably will be back before then, so not go that far. But at the moment, we got Daniel Smith. Remember, if he came into the last team of the season, came off the bench as a centre back. He's not got much fitness, but he will have to come on if someone gets injured. Hopefully, that will not happen in this game. I think most of these players have actually played pretty well for us this season. I'm just going to swap those, so I'm not too concerned about the backups we've got in there. Otherwise, Freeman and Timon, that's just rotation on the left and right. Spearing and Fleck again. Fleck, I could have played Vetlison, but in this big clash, I went for the experience, well, a bit more of experience from John Fleck in these kind of fixtures. David Brooks keeps his place in attacking midfield. He's losing a bit of fitness from playing pretty much every game, but we're going to just keep playing him every game until basically he gets burnt out. We might bring in Carruthers in the next game, maybe to give him a rest. but we do obviously want to keep playing him. Actually, we're going to try him on that Trequartista role again in this game, and then we're going to push Zach Clough forward to an attack role on the deep line forward, alongside Ched Evans, our top goal scorer this season, who we can just have a look. 10 goals in 10 games in the league. 4-star rating he's got actually now, and he's valued at 5.25 million. If someone came in for a bid with him, I would be quite happy to accept, actually, if it was much over 5 million. I think he's having a good season, but last season really put me off him quite a bit. Their team, they've got David Myler in central midfield, Ashley Young on the left, George Boyd on the right, Tyler Blackett in the back. They've poached a few Premier League players in recent years, Gary Hooper and Stephen Fletcher. They shouldn't cause too many problems with balls over the top, at least. Hopefully, the players we've got on can deal with them. So let's get into the game. There's a chance early on, the ball's played in. Not great from Spearing there, unfortunately, could not head it home. Just bring up the match stats here, and it looks like the highlight's going to continue. Hooper heads it down into Fletcher, Boyd out on the right. Turnbull gets the tackling, good. I was thinking that would be very odd if they got a shot early on, but Clough finds the net. Great finish from him, and he has not scored for a few games. That is really, really good to see that he's getting on a score sheet in a very, very big game. You can see it in 3D. Turnbull with a good challenge. He's been immense this season. He has been our best centre-back. By some distance, he's scored a few goals, and he's played very well when he's come in. Maybe it was against the weaker teams, but anyway, Clough with a great finish, so that makes it 1-0 to us. And we've carried on piling on the pressure so far as Fleck has it in midfield, spearing out wide into Freeman, comes back inside to Fleck, the deep line playmaker, plays a decent ball into Freeman, he crosses it in, can Clough get there? No, he can't. He handled the ball apparently, so that was a highlight. He tried to Maradona it. Okay, Clough, don't do that, mate. I'll let you off as you scored a goal though. And well, as it approaches half time, they have not had a sniff. Well, actually, they've had a sniff now. They've had a shot, but we have been by far the dominant team, which is great to see in this game against such a big rival for us. So let's just try and just say, don't be complacent. Assertive, we've got to guard against complacency, and then we'll select this team and we'll say, good job, lads, because they deserve it. Hopefully we can hold on. Well, it's less a case of holding on. Hopefully we can get another goal and just make it fairly comfortable in the end. There is a highlight quite quickly into the second half as Ashley Young comes forward. Maybe my team talk wasn't great, but we do have the ball back. Clough does well to find Fleck. Brooks, can he find the ball through? And he does into Timon, but not a great strike from him. Rather unsurprisingly, this is a feature of our team. Our wingbacks get very far forward and take the odd shot, but they're not very good at shooting, so it's not really ideal that they're taking shots. But there is another chance here. Fleck plays it in, not a great ball, but Clough gets it, and Carter Vickers with a strike from outside the area. Fair play to him, he's at the bar. Sheffield Wednesday have the ball now. There's a ball over the top into Hooper, and Ortola makes a good save. That's their second chance of the game. They haven't fashioned much, but that was a good chance, which is a bit annoying that they were allowed that much space. There's a header and it's over the bar. And maybe they're putting the pressure on now. I'm going to make a change, actually. We're going to bring David Brooks back into this attacking midfield position and then sub him off for Carruthers, and hopefully a bit more defensive-minded player will do a bit better job in there for us. Not actually going to make any more subs, but they might be to my detriment. And Winnall, it's cleared though, but Hutchinson has it. Carter Vickers, great challenge from him. Oh no, it's a free kick. Not a great challenge from him then, but that is the end of the highlight. They are putting some pressure on now. Maybe I should drop it back, but I'm confident in our formation that we can see this through. As Boyd gets it out, and Hutchinson smacks it down the line there. They didn't really have anyone there, so that was a bit of an odd one from him. But Fleck collects it, plays it forward into Evans. There's plenty of space here. If Timon can get through, plays it into Evans. That's a poor shot from Evans. We expect much better from him, and we will take him off actually for Calvert-Lewin to have a bit more pace up there on the counter-attack if they are trying to pen us in our half, but it doesn't really look like they are. So they've made a couple of changes. They're probably too late for them though in the 85th minute, as it looks like time is ticking away, and there we go. That should be the end of the game. Freeman heads it forward. Carruthers, is there a last chance for us? No. Blackett cuts it out, but there is, and it's Calvert-Lewin seals the deal, as he has done so many times this season. It's ridiculous. He's scored probably 5 or 6 goals in the last 5-10 minutes of games where he's just sealed them and made it 2-0 or 3-0 and made sure we've got the win late on, capitalising on a mistake there from Tyler Blackett. Very poor from him. I remember when he actually had a few games for Man United, he wasn't very impressive then. He's not learnt too much since then, which I am quite happy about, especially as he's mucked about in our game. But there it is, the full-time whistle, 2-0. Solid result. That we did let them in a bit too much in the second half. I thought maybe I could have shored it up a bit more, but very, very pleased with the result against a big rival and a team that we lost to, I think, twice last season in the end after beating them. Oh no, we lost to them once last. No, we did lose to them, sorry, twice last season after beating them in the first game that we showed you live. So, Clough End's goal drought, very good stuff. I could praise him, but he's only scored one goal, and I reckon he'll be a bit like, oh, why are you praising me for scoring one goal? So I'm not going to do that. Let's first, though, before I show you the schedule, go on to the Sky Bet Championship, and you can see already there that we are first in the league. I've clicked on the wrong thing there. We are top of the league. You're having a laugh. Top of the league. We are top by 4 points, actually. We've got a one-game gap, basically, a one-loss gap. We scored the most goals in the league. 35. We conceded the least, or almost the least. Only Ipswich have conceded less than us. Really, really good from us so far this season. Brentford up there, Ipswich up there. You wouldn't really expect them. Preston, they've got quite a decent team, so maybe that's not surprising. Cardiff have dropped away a bit, which I'm glad about after them beating us before. Oldham's still down there. Birmingham's still down there, having done very poorly in the last 5 games. So it looks really good for us going into the next set of games. We've got Aston Villa, Burton, Blackburn, Fulham, Swansea. That's a tricky one. Hopefully we can pick up plenty of points there. But we will come back to this game against Brentford because that is before the transfer window. And then we will play these games in the following episode and then update you at the Brighton one again, probably, or maybe the Barnsley one even, on our transfer updates. So until then, the game against Brentford, goodbye.